Welcome to the activation phase. We have a short and snappy tournament report. So Tim and Hamza were absolutely crushing it in the international SAGA scene, as per usual. At the Polish group
Grand Melee
Open.
It was just a group Grand Melee, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. The sixth one. So we interviewed Jan and Andrei, I think before the summer about it. So unfortunately I couldn't attend, but Tim and Hamza were crushing it. So we are going to talk about the group format. We are going to talk about the warbands that they took and their experience absolutely crushing noobs in Poland. So kick it off, Tim. Can you describe the team tournament aspect a little bit and how it affected how you chose your warbands? Why?
Yeah, right.
What was an offer?
So I think, and Hamza, please correct me when I say something wrong, but I think the main thing was because it was two players per team, and then the important part was that there was 5 game slots, so morning, lunchtime, and then evening time. And for all these slots, for each game slot, there were 3 scenarios that were that you basically got to choose from as a group. And the group ranking highest, the duo ranking highest, got to first pick one of these 3 or ban one of these 3. So that made it really interesting because only 2 out of these 3 were going to be played. And you could kind of prepare to know, okay, which scenario is good for my warband, or in general, which scenarios are good for which warbands. So when Hamza and I first met, we looked at we didn't really have warbands in mind, but we looked at the scenarios and then looked, okay, can they be won by our normal warbands? So I don't know, Huns and Scots and stuff, or Picts, and then we kind of went through each of them and prepared which warband we wanted to bring to make sure that we can kind of fill all slots. And Hamza, how did you like that part of it?
We discussed it very briefly, what we thought.
We did.
You checked it. I didn't do basically anything, but we talked about the warbands, and for me it was like I wanted to bring something I had painted, but when we looked at the scenarios, seems like it wasn't really possible.
Yeah,
it would have been difficult to do anything with the warbands I had finished, because we did this like a month before, so we didn't have a lot of time to I couldn't make a new warband basically.
Yeah, and maybe an important thing to say is that we talked to Jan, who kind of drew up that whole rules pack. We talked to him, and the missions or the scenarios are incredibly well done, and they're very wordy, as we kind of talked to him about, and that was kind of made it hard, right, to kind of look at all the scenarios and have an idea of what is going on.
Yeah,
some scenarios are like 4 pages long.
You should have actually get the chance to play them before. I know some of them I played like a long time ago, and some were completely new, and that I could say that like my initial judgment of what worked and what didn't most of the time didn't really turn out the way the game actually played. So that was like the drawback of doing what we did. Just looking at the scenario, looking at the win conditions, and can this army do that? This is conquest points, or this is massacre points.
Yeah.
But it was how the game actually went is a bit more different. And I can say that these scenarios are pretty good. They are like a step above what's in the Book of Battles, so they're a bit wordy to read, but once you play them, you think that you can usually score every turn, and they're quite interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Right, maybe that's it. Let's talk about what was the which ages were available, and maybe quickly also like why did you allocate, or how did you allocate who was going to do which age?
Hamza, I can't remember. Do you want to go first?
Well, I remember. Painting pot open. Let me just close it. The ages were invasions and Vikings in one slot. So one player had to based off those and pick armies from there. And then there was Crusades and Age of Chivalry in a second slot. The armies we had, I mean, we discussed a bit what we wanted to play. I had the question was like, if it's Crusades or Chivalry, I basically have Saracens or Mutatawi already. And if I can't play that, if that isn't good in the scenarios, I have to do something else. So then Tim took over that slot because he had Chivalry armies completed.
Yeah, I think the important part was to kind of find two armies that play somewhat differently, to make sure that we can cover all different scenarios. And of course, it also makes it much easier for our opponents to give us scenarios that we don't really want to be playing. But that ended up being okay. We had a spreadsheet for every scenario that was available to know, okay, we kind of, for this scenario, this is good for the Huns, or because Hamza ended up playing Huns in Dark Ages and I ended up playing the Scots in Chivalry, and this is good for the Scots, and so that ended up working out.
And in terms of the scenarios, I don't think we're going to go through all of the scenarios and everything else. I think
it's impossible.
Yeah, but it's also, it gives us. It's probably good to have a look at them actually if you're running like a tournament or something like that. It definitely gives you some very interesting scenarios. Like, which warbands and why did you choose those particular warbands? Maybe starting off with you, Hamza.
From what I had, like in the Viking Age, it's like Anglo-Saxons, Anglo-Danes, last Romans, or I could proxy something, right? And of the proxy somethings, the only army I'm like used before is the Huns, and they're significantly better than the ones I just brought up. So it had to be them. Unfortunately, I didn't want to use my Saracens as Huns. I can do them as steppe people, but they're a weaker board. So I had to borrow a lot of models from Tim to play. I am building a Hun army though, so in the future they'll be done.
How many points of each did you bring? Like, what was the 7 points you brought? Forgot.
I brought a point of herd guard that I never used. I don't know why I did that. A point of levy that I used a lot, usually at 1.5, and then the rest warriors. So it's like a 7-point tournament, but you play with 6 points. So yeah, so that was my position.
Yeah, I decided to bring Scots because they're I feel like they're probably one of the best foot armies in Chivalry, and they're probably the best pike army. And so with all the horses running around in Crusades and Chivalry, the Scots just feel incredible. And then if you go into other melee armies, you can usually take them. And so I felt the Scots were super nice and fast enough because they can move in their opponent's turn. They're fast enough to still allow for the quote-unquote bad scenarios where they have to move a lot, because they're still a pike army, to still win these or try to win these. And so that basically was the reason why I brought the Scots, and I ended up bringing a point of Hearthguard, then 3 points of Warriors, 2 points of Levies, and a point of the Gallow Glasses. And I never used the second point of Levies, so I always put down 6 Hearthguard and then 6 Levies, or 4 Hearthguard and then 12 Levies, depending on if I wanted to keep an opponent out of my deployment zone or not. If I wanted to keep them out, I just put down the 12 Levies, and if I didn't care, then I just put down 6 Levies for a 4 die in the corner of my deployment zone. Good warband.
Right.
Really good warband.
Yeah. I think it's fair enough to say that Huns solid faction in kind of in any scenario. I'm having a look at the lists that were submitted and the warbands which were being played, and I think you were the only Hun player in the Dark Ages, and then the rest is actually I'm having a look, and there's a good mix of Age of Invasions and Age of Vikings here.
Yeah,
a lot of Pagan Rus, a lot of Yoms Vikings, a lot of Carolingians,
a lot of Anglo-Saxons.
A lot of Anglo-Saxons.
I guess in this rule set they're quite good.
I think
Can I just say something about them? So in this rule set, the priest was basically 1.5 points, and used they could like I don't remember if they could like generate. They couldn't generate the dice, or they could, but they could change like a facing and take a fatigue.
Yeah, they were half a point, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they were half a point in this tournament. So that's why like Saxon suddenly can get that warriors every turn stuff going, which is quite good.
I think that makes it a little bit more. I guess just the mass of bodies makes it a little bit difficult maybe for the Huns, but even like Pagan Rus and stuff like that are not great with against Huns. So it's a pretty tough field, I would say. But and then having a look at the, I guess what they call the Middle Ages, like the Crusades and the Chivalry, there's a pretty good mix. I think only one Polish player, and then a lot of I would say 75% looks like it's.
That's Chivalry, yeah. Most of it was Chivalry.
Yeah, I see like I see Jan has taken Pagan Raiders, so respect to him.
Yeah, I played against him as well.
Okay, good. So it's good to see them being represented there, but it's mostly, I would say, a lot of. You were the only Scots player, as far as I can see, and a pretty good mix. And then only one Mongols player, which is pretty interesting. So I was actually probably expecting more Huns and Mongols ages, but all right, interesting. So I think it's pretty good mix there. I would like to maybe touch briefly on your games, what went well, what went not so well, and kind of like your takeaways and what made you successful. So Hamza, starting off with you.
That's a big ass question, JP.
I will break it down for you, Hamza. So
I'm
did you play against?
Low IQ guy. Just break it down for me.
Yeah.
The first game you played, Hamza, was into Romans from Age of Invasions.
Yeah. I played the Romans from Age of Invasions, and he had quite a beautiful looking army. This was Jan and his partner Jakub, who had a great looking Roman army, and the scenario was like killing a beast in the middle. So basically, what happened is I'm Hans. I can put a bunch of fatigues on the beast and kill it. Turns out it also killed a lot of my guys doing that, and I placed myself pretty poorly, so he could shoot me a lot, which he did. That turned out to be a loss for me. He played really well. He had the ballista, lots of levy and some cataphracts as support. Yeah, great army. But I wasn't really like the last time I played Hans before this was at the World Cup in Germany. So that was
in 2023.
I mean, I looked at the board again, but there was, I wasn't really practice. Did things out of order. I asked him to oh shit, I forgot this. Can I do this? Which he allowed me. So that was like sportsmanship points to him. But he also played well. So I ended up losing the first round pretty high. So should I go like the other games or just say what went well? So in the other games, I started to get like a more feel for the board to remember like what to do, and I found out like I need my 2 levy because I position myself so poorly. I need like these 2 9 or 8s of levy to put them on the board because you can move them with tons, the spear levy basically. So I could if I messed up the terrain or did something, I could just always hide my guys behind them. And when I did that, it started to get better. And also like think about the sequencing, but still found some rules wrong here and there. Most of my games went like very late, almost overtime, and usually I won in the last turn, basically. Taking out the key unit or contesting an objective. So I faced Last Romans, which I've played a lot. That game went well for me. It was cool. It was a team of a father and a son, which is
super nice.
Hobby respect, salute. Then we met Gabor and the other
Victor.
Victor, yeah. Gabor played a very good army of Scotty, so like Irish from the Age of Invasions.
So I think you skipped over the game against the Italians, right? Because I think that was first. That was the.
Oh yeah, and the Italians, he had an Anglo-Saxon army, but he was nice because he had 6 Hurtguard in it. It wasn't like a 72 levy. So, if you're listening to this, thank you for that. I respect it. That was a very drawy game until he put his priest into a forest with 2 fatigues, and I had last turn, so I went in there and took it out. In the final turn, which is a bit of a downer for him, I guess. So Scotty, Anglo-Saxons, last Romance, late Romance, and in the last game it was Pagan Russ. This one was very hard because we both kind of played for draw, but in the end, I can't play for draw. It's I want to do stuff. He had the last turn, unfortunately, so I took out some shit. But in the last turn, he took out a lot of stuff with his hero as well. He had Sigvaldi, 6 Heartguard, and the rest warriors, basically. And his warlord took out a lot. So that turned out to be a draw. So I had 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. Takeaway is practice with your army more before you go to a Grand League. Oh man, there was so much of me being like, "Oh, can I redo this? Oh shit, I forgot." Oh, I don't want to be like that guy, but I was that guy. So anybody facing me in the future, you can basically redo your entire turn. I owe you that.
Thanks, Hamza.
So, yeah.
I think good to see Sigvaldi on the board. That's pretty sick. Haven't heard that name for a while, but he's pretty OP, I think. All right, Tim.
Yeah,
with the Scots knowledge.
Right. So obviously same opponent's first game. I went into Jan, the probably the best player I know. Right, like not just Polish player, just the best player I know. And he brought Pagan Raiders. So and I didn't know that at the time. That was kind of what I messed up. But he brought 6 points of the mercenaries that are the pirates or whatever. The sailors. And I didn't know that that's a thing. I thought he had 1 point when he did his introduction, but he ended up having 6 points of these sailors, and the book kind of allows for it, and the tournament allowed for it because they don't count as mercenaries anymore. They count as, I don't know, loyal and stuff. And so the game was we both messed up quite a lot in that first game, but he basically ended up outplaying me, and he put units down where I had to commit way too much to take them out, or if I don't commit, then they score points, and he just played that so well, and he ended up winning by 1 point. And so that was a loss for me. So Hamza and I started off with a nice double loss. And then the next game, as Hamza said, was into Father and Son, and I played into Ordenstad, and the new Ordenstad. And I think the thing that won me that game was that for 1 turn, I think the second turn, he left a small gap between his defensive units, so Hearthguard and the Western Knights, so I could touch his levies. And the game, in the second turn, I basically wiped all his levy units, and then his abilities become bad. Can't really use them anymore. And so even though I was kind of almost exhausted in between his lines, once he can't take models off to buff his abilities, then they just don't become good, and he can't revive them and stuff. So I think that's what won me the second game into Ordenstad. The third one was into Burgundians, and there it was a conquest point game to the very nice Italian gentleman, and it was clear that it's conquest points, so the warrior units are the ones that are really important, and I ended up sacrificing like 2/3 of my army into his warriors, so that just so that he can't score. Yeah, I lost my warlord, I lost my mercenaries, I lost my Hearthguard, everything, but it didn't really matter because I had 2 12-man units of warriors just scoring conquest points the whole game. So I ended up winning that, I don't know, 50 points to 20 or something. It was insane just because the scoring was conquest points. And then the fourth game was into Bretons, and that was into Victor, so one of the young stars of Poland, an incredible player as well. And he kind of lost the game the first or second turn, that it looked like it was going to be a huge win for the Paklena Ekipa. So that was our team name. Hamza came up with that one. It's a Serbian name, I think. But Victor ended up being incredibly smart and pulling a brilliant move he lost the fight, but he didn't lose the war. So he brought his units into my deployment zone to start scoring, and I didn't realize at the time that scoring was at the end of each turn and not at the end of the game. So once he started scoring with these big warrior units, I ended up winning that game with 1 point. So it was massacre points and conquest points, luckily. So that was really close. He made some clutch moves there. Otherwise, that win would have been much, much higher for us. And then the fifth game, and I'm happy I played that, was into Mongols. And that was... it was a scenario where there was no terrain allowed in the middle of the table, but infantry units, as long as they walk exactly down the center line, get a boost to their movement speed. And so I weathered the shooting storm for 3 turns, losing some warriors, and that was okay. And then he ended up being cornered and just got absolutely smacked by pikes into composite bow warriors. So I hit him on 2s, and the Scots are super defensive when they charge. So that was he took out, I don't know, like 1.5 points of my models. But once I got to him in 1 or 2 turns, I took out like 5 points of his army. So the Mongols were really annoying to beat, but some good rolls in the last 2 games on the Saga dice allowed me to win. So really nice, super fun, and I loved all the scenarios. They were really good.
Were you playing at the end? What was the name of the Mongol?
The name of the Mongol player?
Kuchar in the Discord.
Kuchar. Yeah, exactly. Kuchar, yeah.
All right. I played him over the summer, and also with Scots. And
he told me. Yeah, he told me.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, it's easy mode."
Yeah, he said he met you, and he was like, just after the game, he was like, he realized who you were, and he apologized to me for not rolling out the red carpet to you, which I thought was hilarious and obviously completely nonsensical, but still very fun. But yeah, I played.
Yeah, I didn't pull my "Do you know who I am" card.
Yeah, me neither. Just to say, yeah, that's super weird. So, yeah.
The super nice guy. I'm glad you.
Really nice guy, and like I told him incredible. He has incredible eyes.
All right. Cool. So that sounds pretty sweet. It's like the group format. Is that the future of Saga?
I think it was incredible. What do you think, Hamza?
I don't think it's the future of Saga.
Why not?
There's a lot of preparation going into it to do it. So I don't think it's for everyone. You need like a big community to do something like this, which they have in Poland, but it's not for everyone else.
Maybe that's the right assessment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks really good, but I know like Netherlands and like it's a little bit smaller community as well, and just getting people to commit is a pain. But I'm glad that they managed it in terms of bringing everything together. So good to see, and I'm always happy for people to like try new things because it takes incredible amount of effort. I know as a tournament organizer, I'm relatively lazy, and I just do cut and paste of my previous pack, and then maybe change it up a little bit and change the date. But like, kind of coming up with like an entirely new system is pretty impressive.
But like the cool thing about this Polish tournament is not only like playing Saga and so on. It's like it takes place at one of their history museums, which is a huge modern building. And this year there was like a gaming convention, so they were like historical reenactors. There were other games tournaments. There were demo games of and all were like somehow tied to Polish history. So there was like some guys dressed up as Vikings, some guys not as Vikings, but like people from that era, Northern Europeans. There were like World War II games, the Fire and Sword games. So it was pretty cool, and also like the the museum is like a very nice, big, modern building. So like, you know, the toilets, everything is very nice. There's great food available.
Yeah.
It's in Warsaw. You have like plenty of stuff you can do later on. There's like a military museum nearby, which I went to the second day. So like not just like going there to play Saga, you can do like lots of other stuff there, which I think is why I think it's worth it to travel there as a non-Polish player, basically. Like, because it's, you know, it's Sweden is close, but it's still like a flight I had to take to go there. And I think it's there's like lots of things going on there to be like really worth it. And yeah, so I enjoyed it a lot. And not just for the Saga, it's like for everything. But it started as a Saga tournament, but now I had like more people involved with it.
Yeah, I think that's actually the thing. Yeah, the whole like atmosphere there was super nice, and it's just literally like 10 out of 10. And if it I don't know, didn't cost me, I don't know, like 500 euros to go there, I would happily go twice a year.
Yeah. Me too.
Right. Awesome. I think good to hear. Hopefully I can clear my schedule next year to rock up. But
you need to come,
nice
Dippy.
I know, like it was still like super good weekend last time we went. I think that was like already 3-4 years ago. But
yeah, 2022.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's been a big improvement since the last time we went, because then they had like Lord of the Rings terrain. It was like, you know, I don't know, was it like a military? They were like armed guards there. It was. It's not like the environment is much nicer now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to hear. All right. Thank you, Hamza. Thank you, Tim, for joining me. Good to talk to you, and take care.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.